Hey, you're now listening or watching the Halos in the Infield podcast with your hosts Todd Fox and Fernando the Lone Star Halo, brought to you in part by Noble L Works, just outside of Anaheim Stadium and the Pond, or the Honda Center, where you can get drink specials just by mentioning Halos in the Infield. Also brought to you in part by 714 Tickets. 714 Tickets is a place to go to get 10% off of any ticket purchase just by also mentioning HITI, Halos in the Infield. Now enjoy the show.
And welcome everybody to Halos in the Infield. My name is Fernando, aka the Lone Star Halo, joined here by a familiar face that everyone seems to like every time we bring him back, Mr. Ty Buttrey. Ty, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Fernando. Thanks for having me back on, man. I love coming on, talking shop with you guys, and you're a passionate fan and passionate human being, man. So I just, just thank you for caring about my crazy journey and wanting me to come back on here and speak.
Yeah, dude. I mean, there's always room for good people. And, I think it's evident because every time you come on, people do tune in, and I mean, you're a couple years away removed from an Angels career, but the fact that people still care should let you know that people like genuine people. You and Sam are both hard workers. You guys are genuine people. And I know that's why you and I have kind of always vibed so well. I feel like you and I, there's not a lot of room these days for good, genuine people. So when you find those people, you kind of got to keep them around. So, you and I have been fortunate enough to have a friendship.
Dude, it's been crazy. I'm thankful for our friendship, Fernando. And honestly, when I left ball, like there was just a core group of people that Sam and I could just kind of count on, and you guys would always engage with our silly stuff that we were doing, Drip Social and BTL and live shows and graffiti and art and all kinds of crazy stuff. And we love building community and like doing all this stuff, man. And the fact that you guys were ride or die, man. And so I appreciate that. I mean, that's just kind of this journey that we've been on. Sam and I have got to know we've got to meet a lot of new people that we just really didn't know. And when you're in the big leagues or you're in AAA, there's always that little like fan player barrier, and you can't really break through it because you just don't really know, like, you don't know, like the parties don't really know each other outside of just being player fan. And that was the cool part about, well, not the cool part about leaving, but when I left, it really like kind of dissolved that barrier, and I got to meet a lot of cool people. So appreciate you saying that. It means a lot, man.
So real quick, I know that Sam's always gassing you up, and you guys have a good relationship that way. Dude, she's on another level at this point, dude. Like she's doing really well.
Dude, Sam's the sugar mama now. She's bringing, dude. She's just so impressive, man. Like I get so much joy. It really is like one of my happiest. Like that's what makes me happy. Like throwing fastballs really hard. Arizona spring training, good food. Traveling and seeing cool places and seeing and then seeing Sam just absolutely dominate. Like those are my top like 5 things I love in life. Obviously I love my family and my friends, but I love Sam doing her thing, and she's so cool. She's so cool.
Yeah, I say it in the best way possible. She's like the definition of like a boss bitch. Like she was doing it, man, and I give her a lot of respect. I mean, very professional, very crisp, with her videos and stuff and her content. So all the respect in the world to her. Since you brought up good food, we brought you on because you just got done playing in various winter leagues. And a lot of the food that you and her both posted on social media looked good. What's the food like in Latin America?
It's unbelievable. It's so like, I went down there because a lot of Americans that go down there are, you're like, don't drink the water and don't eat this food and don't do that. And it's like, I'm here for 3 months and I'm not going to sit there and eat freezer dried food and make this whole deal about it. Like, I'm going to eat, like, I'm not going to just get some food off the side of the street, even though I did a lot of the times and I was fine. I only got food poisoning once. Or food poisoning or some type of sickness. And I mean, that's just standard when you go to another country. Like our bodies are adjusted to food here, and then you put something else in the mix. and that you're just kind of bound to get something. And so I went 3 months, and I only got really kind of fell ill one time. Um, but man, I had dude, the food down there, it's so clean. There's nothing processed. Like it's just like the essentials of what you need to be an athlete. It's carbs, protein, and what's the other thing? Fats, maybe some
Yeah, yeah.
fats, protein. There's one more thing, but carbs and protein, and it's just like its purest form, like rice, beans, chicken, rice, beans, pork. You know, um, plantains, beans, steak, like smashed up plantains, fried plantains, sweet plantains. Uh,
They love
dude,
the
it's
bananas down there.
yeah, like it's freaking awesome. Mangu, like, oh, I was in such a good spot with like, I had my little coffee shop behind. I had this like really good authentic food, and then I would get to the field and I'd pay our little cab driver, and he'd go out and give me some like chicken and rice, and we'd all have that before the game. So the food down there was elite.
Yeah, so you brought up the fact that like in various places of the world, not even just, the Latin Americas, those parts of the world are known for like pure food, right? Because a lot of things here in America are super processed. There's a lot of preservatives. That's not a hot take. People know that. So I
Mhm.
definitely have heard from people as they travel the world that it takes some adjusting because you're going from eating, processed McDonald's to pure beef. Hey, this is just beef. That is what it is. There's nothing
Mhm.
fake about it. It's basically it's closer to farm to plate than it is here in the States.
Definitely, definitely, it really is, and I'll say this, Fernando. When I went from the States and I got there, and I was probably about 3 weeks in, I noticed it, and I noticed like, and everyone has a little bit of anxiety. I've gotten really good at being able to manage it, and I dealt with it in the past a little bit. I'm in a really good spot right now, just from working on it and getting older and going through life. But like, food is really, I don't have science, I don't have data to back this up, but food and like the gut health, man, it leads to so much like I guarantee you, and people, I can't describe it exactly, but like there's like this uneasiness in your body and your mind when you're just consuming this like American food and these processed chemicals. And I mean, it's synthetic, it's not real. Like it's chemically made and altered and made to look pretty and stuff. And like that stuff, it goes into your body and it messes with you. And like you wonder why I can't get a hold of my control of my anxiety, and why am I angry today, and why do I wake up and I'm kind of lost. And like of course there's other different reasons, but when I went down to the DR, like 3 weeks into it, I just started noticing, I was like, wow, like my head's just kind of just still. Like I was like, everything feels really still right now. Like there's no BS going on. I'm losing a little bit of weight. I'm not losing muscle. Like it was really cool to kind of see that. And it made me think when I come back how important it is. I want to really start eating, like I've been eating Mexican food the last 3, 4 days. I go to the same Mexican place because I'm like, it's just that Latin America culture that they care about it. And there may be some processed stuff in those, but like it's just that it's beans, rice, vegetables, protein. Like that's it.
Yeah, I think you might have the potential for it to be a little less processed,
Yeah.
potentially. Okay,
Yeah.
so you played, you said 3 months. You went to the DR and Puerto Rico, right?
Dude, crazy story. So I actually uh I kind of got the hookup to go down to Dominican. Luckily, I had a old Angels teammate that is really connected there, and he's really good at baseball. And I reached out to him, and he kind of helped me get the nod and put me in contact with some people. And um, they, hey Ty, we'd like for you to come down to spring training. So I went down to their Dominican spring training for like 2, 3 weeks before, which was a crazy experience. Really, really awesome. I mean, the hotel, they took care of us. I mean, Escogido absolutely took care of the Gringos, man. Like first class teams. Like I mean that. I absolutely mean that. And I'd be honored to go back if I had the opportunity in the future. But like, um, I was done. I was going back to Christmas because I kind of was about getting ready to shut it down. We just made the playoffs down there. I was on an inconsistent spree. My ERA was kind of shot, but like I'd have like 3 or 4 perfect games and I'd give up like 3 runs, 3 or 4 perfect games, give up 3 runs. Meanwhile, Puerto Rico is going on doing their championship and doing their playoffs and stuff. And Jesus Feliciano, who's the first base coach in 19, he actually called me when I was in the airport coming back to Charlotte. And he's like, "Hey, Ty, like, what's up, man?" Like, he's a good dude. I like Jesus a lot. And he's like, "We've been watching you pitch for a while. Talk to the club. We'd love for you to, come down to Puerto Rico and pitch in our playoffs." Gave me a good, chunk of cash to come down there, a rental car, my own house, like my own place to stay, like absolutely went above and beyond. And I'm thankful for it. So I ended up going home, spending 3 days for Christmas and being like, all right, guys, going back to Puerto Rico for 3 weeks, completely was out of the plan, went down there and had another just amazing experience.
So how are you pitching wise right now? Do you feel like going down to the DR and Puerto Rico made you a better pitcher, even though maybe a couple outings might not have been, what you wanted?
Dude, it was that's what I needed though. Like, yeah, like it was my biggest thing from taking that time off. Like I've always been a naturally, like I get really tight. So if I don't stay on my flexibility and mobility and my core workouts, my body really locks up. And so taking a year off, I got thrown into AAA and it's like, hey, go out there and do it. And meanwhile, like I'm throwing once a week. So there's no consistency. And I'm not blaming, I'm not making excuses. It's just that's how AAA is now. It's like, unless you're a priority guy, you really throw once a week. And so like at that time, I just wasn't getting like the reps in that I needed. I mean, I threw 30 innings in I think 3 years. Granted, I was the guy that retired, so it's like I did it to myself. I'm not saying it like that, but like I needed to throw and I just needed to keep throwing and keep throwing and keep throwing. And dude, I got what I asked for because down there, like, Ty, get hot. You got 5 pitches, get in the game. Like, it was a cool experience, man. Like, I was in those games every other day, back to back to back days. Like it was a ton. It was a ton of baseball. I threw like 20 something innings, and I think technically like 2 months worth of season. And then I threw another 7 or 8 in Puerto Rico, or I think it was like no, like 4 or 5. But I got 25 innings. So I got 25 innings in 3.5 months of baseball compared to 30 innings of 3 years of baseball. So yeah, like that was huge because now I'm feeling really, really good.
How many roughly major leaguers did you think you faced? 'Cause I know a lot of major leaguers will go down there, did you get a face and like, are you going to feel confident now going into spring training with the Mariners?
Yeah, 100%. I would actually say that Dominican baseball, even though I wasn't at my former like 2019-18 self. I mean, it was like I was still throwing like some good stuff. Like I was challenging these guys, but I mean, Dominican hitters and Latin hitters have always kind of given me a little bit of trouble because I throw a lot of fastballs and they're just notoriously like good hitting fastballs. That's in their culture. And like velocity, like you can't ramp up on a Latin America, like a Dominican player. Like you can't throw this ball harder and think you're going to get it by him because he's ready for it. And that was kind of my game. And I didn't really have my slider as much as I wanted to. So I had to rely a lot on the fastball. And I didn't give up like any hard hit contact. I probably gave up 2 or 3, maybe 4 hard hit balls, but the rest was like single up the middle, single up the middle, single down the line, bloopy over second base, because these guys just kind of they're good enough. They're either AAA or ex big leaguer or current big leaguer Dominican hitters, and they're just good enough to be like, I'm just gonna get my hands inside the ball and like not knock it this way. And they did. And so yeah, like I faced a lot of guys that were in the show. I mean, Miguel Sano, Robinson, Cano, trying to think. Like there's dudes on the Toros that Anuri Tavares, he's an amazing like free agent hitter. He's up and down. I played with him in the Red Sox. A lot of guys, I don't know all the names off the top of my head, but like I'd go up in the lineup and be like, oh my God, I played against that guy in Double-A back with against the Blue Jays, and now he's here. And he had, I mean, all those guys either are prospects for teams or they're 4A quality hitters.
So What after Puerto Rico,
Mhm.
how long did it take for you to get the call from Seattle?
So I got the email. You know, my dad's been my agent. Like um he's been doing it. Like I don't have an agent. Where I'm at in my career and in my life, having an agent, it's more about me pitching well. It's not like I don't need to be sold. I got to go out there and do what I know I can do. And so like taking the stress off my plate, my dad was able to like find all these GMs and scouting directors and farm directors. He paid like this service to get all these emails, and he found all these emails, and he just sent out like, hey, he was sending it from my email, and you know, like I check it before he sent it and stuff, and so it's coming from me too. But like we'd send out film. And I mean, we must have sent out over 70 to 100 emails, and um finally, instead of going to like the scouting directors, he started sending it to like the GMs and assistant GMs and stuff. And so one of the emails was, you know, we sent it to Jerry DePoto, and obviously, you know, Jerry, and he's very familiar with me going over to Seattle and, you know, pitching well over at T-Mobile Park. And so he was like, hey Ty, we'd love to obviously it wasn't just that. I mean, I think it's because of my performance in the DR. I hit 98 a few times. My stuff was starting to come back, and he's like, Ty, we'd love to have you a part of our club. You know, let us know if you're interested. And I responded, but like, yes, like I'm interested because there's no one else. You know, like let's do it. So it felt really right. And ever since I've signed with them, I know Angel fans and everything like go back, but like it just feels super. It feels like a home, and I don't know if I could say that about the 5 clubs I played with in the past. Maybe a few, but for the sake of it, I'm just gonna stick with the Mariners for now. But like, yeah, like it's just it's a cool feeling, man. Like it's definitely a different feeling. I think I'm just in a better spot mentally too, just a little bit more grown up. I have a lot more perspective than I was with the Astros and obviously Angels. You know, it was a very up and down career there, so learned a lot.
So
Longer.
I guess I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit with this, and I don't want a deep dive. I guess I just kind of want the short answer. So you
Okay.
went from, you know, an organization that's notorious for not having the strongest major league or minor league development. My apologies, in the Angels, right? It's notorious. They're always near the bottom of minor league development. You went to the Astros, who are, you know, cream of the crop when it comes to developing minor leaguers, and now you're going to Seattle, another place that is good at developing minor leaguers. So the question, when you did go to the Houston organization, is it pretty obvious why an organization like them continuously develops top tier minor league talent, and then an organization like the Angels maybe doesn't have that kind of success?
Well, for the sake of this conversation, I'm going to plead the fifth on mentioning anything about the Angels because I've been out of the organization for a couple years. I can't speak on it anymore. I can speak on my experiences with the Astros because it was without giving too much like credit to a former team and me being on a divisional rival. I don't want to sit here and say like, oh, someone's knocking on my door. Yeah, like I can definitely like there's definitely a absolute win first mindset with the Astros. And it's evident on just the little things throughout the nutrition and the planning, the communication, the systems they have set up, the ability to kind of like flip guys. And if you're doing the job, great, we'll keep you there. If not, we'll find someone else who will replace you. And so far with Seattle, the 2 days I've been here, like it's a very familiar type of system. And it's like I've had all these people reach out to me and people are communicating and trying to get on the same page with me. I got my player plan meeting coming up. I already threw a bullpen. Like the food's great. The facility, like all the staff is just super in tune. Like it's definitely that same vibe with Seattle so far, which is really cool to be a part of.
Yeah, yeah. Like I didn't ask that question being like, oh, he's gonna bash the Angels. I meant it more so like, you know, when you went to a place like Houston, you can see
Mhm.
that it's a well-oiled machine. That's
Oh
more
yeah.
so what I meant. You know what I
Oh
mean? Like
yeah.
the troops are in line, they're ready to work, you know, the nutrition's there. Because like you would mention, you were talking about gut health. Things like nutrition are pivotal for athletes. I mean, you had the whole thing that came out about CJ Wilson I don't know if you read those articles about when he was with the Angels and they're like, oh, just go get Chick-fil-A for breakfast. Things like that absolutely trickle down to the minor leagues, so
Mhm.
that's more so what I meant. So I guess as we, try to wrap up here with Houston last year, you got
Mhm.
injured
Mhm.
and then you came back for, was it about 2 or 3 weeks? And then you had that one, and you did pretty decently when you came back. You had that one outing that I remember you texting me about,
Yeah.
where I don't know how brash you want me to be. I mean, you got shelled that outing. I mean,
Yeah.
you're
Gave up
you're a very
a
straightforward guy.
yeah. Gave up a 6 spot. Yeah. So what are you saying? Like, what was the experience like that? Like getting like released and
What was going on in your mind at that point? You're a very strong-minded individual, and that's what I've always liked about you. And once again, I think that's why we've always gelled so well. So in that moment, what goes through your mind? Do you have those moments of doubt, or knowing, the kind of guy you are, was it just, hey, let's hop back on the horse?
um, Fernando, when I got released, it was definitely a little bit of a kick to the ribs. And is it kick to the ribs or kick to the gut?
I mean, it works either way.
Either
It's
one
kick to
word.
the gut, but
Maybe I stick to references that I know for sure. Okay. It was it was like it was weird, man, because last year with Houston, like I just mentally still wasn't where I knew I needed to be. I had a lot of still some self doubt, but I had a lot of self doubt because I knew how my body felt. It still felt tight. It still felt locked up. I couldn't repeat, high velocity days. I go from throwing 98 one day and then 94 the next day. And so like I'm competing with a high caliber club, the best bullpen in baseball, and I'm trying to make my roster. And like I'm trying to tell myself to be confident and tell myself like, dude, come on, we got this. But then I get on the mound and I'm like, I feel uncomfortable in my skin. I feel uncomfortable on the rubber. And when you feel uncomfortable as a pitcher, it usually you you don't pitch as well. And so, yeah, I got hurt a month into the season, or yeah, right after a month. Went down to rehab for 2 months. Pitched really good the first month, and then came back. And I spent like all this time getting my body in shape, and like I was dominating down in the like the Florida League down there. But then I came back and I was in a really good spot mechanically, but I wasn't really throwing as hard. I was like 92 to 94, touching 95. And that was kind of the issue of last year is like I could kind of stay within myself and get outs and be a good quality pitcher, or I can try to take this leap of faith and be like, I'm going to get back to throwing 97 to 100 like I did. And so then I would abandon like these good foundations and this good flow to chase velocity. And then like I chase it, I get it, and then I couldn't repeat it. And so like that's just a backstory of basically going out to Vegas day before, and I had like a 1.8 through I think like 15 innings. So like I was, or not 15, maybe it was like 13 innings, but I was throwing well for the club. And then they signed Kendall Graveman, and right then I knew I was like, or they traded him for him, and right then I was like, that was potentially going to be my role, like kind of a 93, 95 guy with some sinks, gets a lot of ground balls. I was getting a ton of ground balls. Um, I just wasn't polished enough. And it wasn't like one bad game and you're out. It was kind of like the decision was probably made a little bit in advance. And that was just how clubs do it. Like when they're not going to release a guy that has a 1.8, but they'll release a guy that has a 5, like,
Of
and it's
course.
cool. It's a business, man. Like they looked at it as, hey, like, and that's the other side of the professionalism and the business side. It's like, hey, we're not just going to keep you on this roster to hang out in AAA. Like we were either going to use you in the big leagues or we'll grant you your free agency, and that's what they did. So,
You know what, man? And the most admirable part about minor leaguers, in my opinion, is their ability to hop back on the horse, right?
yeah.
Because I mean, like you said, it's a kick to the gut at the end of the
Mhm.
day, right? And I actually had this discussion with my girlfriend a couple of days ago. Like looking for jobs, where like I had that feeling of like, well, I'm not good enough, and she was like, no, it's not that you're not good enough. It's just not what they need right now. But like when you're getting cut from a team, right, you can either have one of those mentalities. You're not what they need right now, or you're not good enough. But the most important thing is what are you going to do next? Is this the end for you, or are you going to go out on your own terms? So the fact that you went out, you got back on the horse, you went to the Dominican Republic, you went down to Puerto Rico, and you refound your game. And more importantly, you refound your confidence. Anybody can get the athletic ability back with enough practice. And I mean, hey, I've known you for years. You send me, videos all the time of your workouts. So I know you're grinding, and that's admirable alone. But now, to see where you've come mentally, that's awesome, man. So I'm glad that you're not only back on the horse, but much like Sam, you've made the horse your bitch. And hey, that's where you got to be, man. So, here's hoping that things work out for you in Seattle, my friend.
Thanks, Fernando. I appreciate that. It's been a hell of the last 3 years. And I mean, I just don't even know, like, if you would have shown me what the 3 years quitting baseball was going to be, I would have been like, yeah, I'm going to stay with baseball, because it has been a lot of growth, a lot of new perspective, a lot of challenges. I faced every single demon you could possibly face, still facing some demons. And but the thing about this whole experience has just been, it has taught me so much, and I've lost so much, and I've gained so much too. And I know Sam feels the same way. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, we made some mistakes. We learned, we grew, we got better. And I'm 30 and she's 27. It's like, life's good. Like, we got a lot of life ahead of us, man. A lot of opportunities still to see, a lot of things to do. And we're just getting started. I truly feel like that. So I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Anything else you have to say? Anywhere where you can plug yourself if people want to come find you? I mean, everyone who follows us kind of already follows you, but
okay, I want to plug. Can I plug crypto, or is someone going to sue me?
You plug whatever you want, man. We own our own network.
Okay. This is not financial advice, so I have to say that. But if you like competitive gaming, and it's about 10, $15 entry fee, look at it like esports. I'm not telling you to buy a token. I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm telling you one thing. Go check out the game called Battle Plan. It's all over my Twitter or X. It's all over there. I'm not, like I said, don't sue me if you lose your $10. Go check it out. It's a very fun game. It took me about 5-6 days to study and learn it, because it's a complicated thinking game. But I promise you, you're going to have a lot of fun playing it. That's my plug.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Where can the listeners find you? Social media, if they don't already follow you.
At Ty Buttrey _.
Okay. And how about any of our young college students looking to learn about NIL? Where can they find Sam?
Oof. At Sam B. Green. Oh man, is it at Sam B. Green, or yeah, at Sam B. Green NIL. Just type in Instagram Sam B. Green. Anyone that's in college sports, go check out. No, don't go check out my wife. Go check out my wife.
Yeah, Sam B. Green. Yep, that is her Instagram.
She is a hottie though, but she is definitely, she's got some stuff in the works. I'm telling you, that girl, man, she's something. She's something.
Well, make sure to follow the Buttreys on their social media. They're good people. Make sure to cheer for Ty. I know a lot of our fans are still cheering for you. And I know you get the tweets all the time from people like, oh, happy for you, even though you're not on the Angels anymore. So, yeah.
It's just like going to the division clubs. It's weird, but it's how it is, man. So,
yeah, I mean, I kind of knew. I was like, well, he's probably not going to go back to the Angels, just because the Angels kind of already know what they had in him. So
yeah.
I was kind of hoping you were going to go to Texas, because at least you and I could have hung out a little bit more.
Well, at this rate, that may be the next club, but I'm feeling really, really good about Seattle, and I think there's some good energy coming, man. So we'll be. Someone's knocking on my door, Fernando. So I got to get going here, but yeah. So yeah, I appreciate it, man. I'm excited. Thanks for doing this. And anything else that you want to wrap up with, or what's up?
We're all good. Thanks again for joining us.
See you guys.
See you.